Hi, my name's Robin Lambert. I'm 17 years old and living with cerebral palsy, but you guys know me as the T-Rex and you're watching my T-Rex life. Okay, recently guys, I've been getting a lot of questions about my childhood and how I developed with CP growing up and stuffs. So today I thought I would do a video on my earlier years. So basically, some of you might know, I wasn't actually diagnosed with cerebral palsy till I moved to Australia when I was 9 years old. I was actually diagnosed with another more rare condition in England called syringomyelia because I had a syrinx in my spine, which is basically where the cerebrospinal fluid builds up in one area to create like a pseudocyst that stops the messages getting from your brain to like the rest of your body. And my cyst actually like just disappeared one time, and then they were like, oh my gosh, you're gonna get better, like stretch and stuffs. But I didn't, and then I came here and I got an MRI and they found out I had brain damage. But like, so because I had this like rare condition, I didn't really get much therapy, or I didn't have any surgeries or anything till I moved to Australia when I was 9 years old, which is quite late. If you have CP, you'll know you usually get your operations and all that jazz quite early on in your childhood. But anyway, even though I didn't have a lot of like surgeries or therapy in England, like below the age of 9, I was quite an active kid. I didn't start walking independently till I was like 4 years old. I think I actually took my first like proper independent steps on my fourth birthday, but like even then, like I wasn't really walking independently by myself very much of the time at all. And even when I was like 5, like teachers would still like carry me upstairs and like around the playground and stuff. But about 5 is when I started like walking properly by myself most of the time. But even then, like I used a wheelchair a lot throughout primary school up until the age of like 9. I would use my wheelchair like going to and from school, and I would use it in the playground and stuff because I fell over like a lot. Like my balance was terrible, and I was actually like getting like fractures in my kneecaps and stuff, and I was just like always like super tired all the time, and I would like get achy, and so it was easier for me to get around in a wheelchair. When I was 9, I moved here and I didn't bring my wheelchair with me, so I had a few years where I was just like solidly just like walking like all the time. But now I have a wheelchair again, and I use it part-time, as you know, to manage like pains and aches and fatigue. So I like walk a lot of the time, but I also use my wheelchair a lot of the time. So it kind of like, I walk enough to like keep my muscle, and then I wheel enough to like not wear out my joints and to like stay like not tired all the time and stuff. So like back to what I was saying, I was like a really active kid, and my parents always like really encouraged me to be really active and like to figure out how to do things, and you know, they would like bribe me sort of, like they'd be like, you know, go climb that like, I don't know, climbing frame in the park, and I'd be like, Mom, Dad, you know, I can't climb that, you know, duh, I'm like disabled. And then they'd be like, well, could you climb it if we give you £1 or we take you to the like the movies tonight? And I'd be like, sure thing, and I'd like run and just figure out how to climb it, and then I'd get my £2 and I'd be very excited. I'd also do like, although I didn't really have like strict physiotherapy, like my parents would do like long sitting with me, and they would like try and do things to build up my muscles, like running up and down the living room and just, you know, stuff like that. So I was really active, and I guess that's what really helped me like to build muscle and stuff before I actually got therapy, so that when I came over here, even though like I had a lot of spasticity, you know, that had to be corrected through like operations and stuff, I was like relatively strong and could actually do most things because I'd figured them out, because my parents had like encouraged me to do that with bribes or whatever. So yeah. And then obviously when I came here when I was 9, I started off like doing a gait lab, which is like where they watch you walk and like they figure out what's wrong, like what's like where you've got spasticity, what's too tight and stuff. And they try to correct it first of all with Botox, which is basically just like, if they can do that, it means that they don't have to do surgery, but it didn't really work. It worked for a little while and it helped a little bit, but then once it wore off, all the spasticity like would just come back again. So I ended up having surgery. Usually like when you have CP, you have like surgery sort of like every year, like little ones, but because I was like 10, 11, you know, it was getting a bit late to do that, so they just did like a whole heap of procedures at once with me. So I was like 11, 12 maybe, and I was in the theatre for like 9.5 hours, and they like lengthened my calf, my hamstrings, my groin. They did like a bone graft in my right ankle to like give me an arch in my foot and all that. And that was quite a long recovery process after that. You know, I kind of had to teach myself how to walk again and like do all the things that I used to do, because like my legs were all different and stuff. But that definitely helped. Like for the first time in my life, I could like straighten my legs, like get extension in my knee, which I couldn't do because of spasticity before, and like I get rotation in my ankle and all different kinds of things. And then since then, I've kind of just had Botox. Oh, I also had, since then I had both my big toes fused, because they like kind of like stick up and like poke over, so I had them fused into like a neutral position. Yeah, I've kind of just had Botox like to knock out any little bits of spasticity that I've like gained or whatever. So like I said, yeah, like I was always really encouraged by my parents. Like they didn't wrap me up in cotton wool, and they always just challenged me to do things and didn't put any limitations on me, so that I would challenge myself and just strive to do things. I did obviously use a wheelchair and didn't walk independently till a bit later on and all that kind of thing, but I think I'm okay for it now, doing pretty good. So that's like my message to parents out there, is to just challenge your kids and just see what they can achieve, and always just push them to try new things, because you never know, you might be pleasantly surprised by what they can do. You know, it might not be how you expect them to do it, but you know, they'll figure out a way to do it somehow. And you know, why put limitations on people when you never know what they're capable of achieving? So yeah, that's pretty much me in my early days. You know, even as a kid I did things like karate, and you know, I would get on a skateboard, and you know, even if I sat on it to roll down the hill or something, you know, I was always just trying out new things. My dad's actually, now he's a personal trainer and has his own gym, but like back in the day he was like a professional fighter, so he's always been like super active, and I would always like go out on a punching bag with him or whatever. My uncle was the same, so we'd always be like play fighting and just being active. We would like go on bike rides in Hampstead Forest in England, like where I would jump on the back of, you know, one of those bikes where it's like two bikes together with my dad. So yeah, I was just active, but you know, in a different way to some kids. I would even play like, you know, chasey in my wheelchair. Someone would like push me around and I would, you know, try and tag people and stuff. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video in the comment section down below, and remember to like and subscribe. Love you always, and stay shiny.